The yew tree, a remarkable species rich in history, mythology and medical purposes. This species came to symbolise death and resurrection in Celtic cultures. The Celts would have been aware of its highly toxic needles, which may have further contributed to its connections with death. Shakespeare was also familiar with these qualities when Macbeth concocting a poisonous brew that included slips of yew silvered in the moon's eclipse. Druids believed in reincarnation, and the great age of yews made them a symbol of everlasting life. They preferred their sacred trees in groves, and there's a collection of yew trees called Druid's Grove at Norbury Park in Surrey, which are estimated to be 3,000 years old. As time passed, the yew remained a symbol of eternity in Christianity. The words and focus changed from rebirth to resurrection. So now we know about the historical side of the yew tree. What about the medical one? Well, the Native Americans, to cure rheumatism, fever and arthritis, used the yew tree leaves. Japanese used it for diabetes and to induce abortion. Docetaxel and paclitaxel is also made by modern doctors to help stop cancer cells from growing. So, this tree has shown itself to be very, very amazing in a lot of different places. But what about its legends? A popular legend relates how Pontius Pilate was born under this tree or played as a child in its branches. This suggests there was already a landmark over 2,000 years ago. But the Romans did not invade Britain until 43 AD. Several expeditions had visited from 55 BC onwards. And the ancient Greeks believed the yew to be sacred tree of Hecate, the nocturnal goddess associated with death, the moon, necromancy and witchcraft. The vengeful Furies were also thought to dwell in a grove of yews, and yews had the power to purify the dead as they entered Hades. This leaves us to our final question. What really is the monster from A Monster Calls? Well, I think personally that it could be a metaphor for Connor's denial and anger. The more he denies the truth, the angrier he becomes. The purpose of these stories from the monster, or the boy's subconsciousness, is for Connor to sort out what's going on in his head and process his emotions. The monster tells Connor the first story. This story teaches Connor that most people aren't just good or bad, but somewhere in between. The second tale emphasises how a lack of faith and willingness to change your belief for personal gain can ultimately lead to the downfall of your family and yourself. The fourth tale is actually Connor's nightmare. As the monster had stated again and again, Connor has to tell his own story, his own truth. He must learn to accept the reality of what is happening to his mother and how he feels about it, even though it deeply scares him. Sometimes it's not clear what's real and what is imagined. Accepting we can't change is not easy, but over time the monster teaches Connor how to let go. The monster's magical tales reveals truth to Connor and shows the power of facing our fears. This is Connor's demon. But when the monster comes for Connor, his life changes in ways he never thought possible. His monster always comes at 12:07. The whole time frame of his monster appearance throughout the book is of course based on the centripetal point of his life, which is his mother's cancer. The decision to pick that time is symbolic since midnight is known as the witching hour when magic happens, and the number 7 alludes to the notion of regeneration. Connor receives a voicemail outside his bedroom window at 7 past midnight. The monster is present. The monster from the nightmare could also represent his mother's illness. But most importantly, the third tale that the monster tells us is most directly related to Connor's life Connor is the Invisible Man, one people have been used to not seeing. Connor essentially enacts the story as the monster tells it, reinforcing his connection with the character.